The air was heavy in the dark cell. The alien girl sat on the cold floor, her small frame shaking in the shadows. Her wrists were sore from the chains that had cut into her skin. Every sound in the corridor made her heart race. She had been told what humans did to captives. Pain, torment, and screams. Those were the stories she grew up hearing. So when she heard boots echoing down the metal hallway, she pulled her knees to her chest, her eyes shut tight, waiting for the first blow. The door creaked open with a slow metallic groan. Light from the corridor spilled into the darkness, revealing the outline of a tall figure, a human. He stepped inside, his face hidden in shadow. The girl's breath came fast and shallow. She whispered to herself, "This is the end. He will hurt me now." Her people had always said humans had no mercy, but something felt strange. The human did not rush to her. He did not raise his hand in anger. Instead, he stood still, watching her quietly. His voice broke the silence, low and steady. "You don't have to be afraid." The words confused her. She blinked, unsure if she had heard right. Humans did not comfort. They commanded. They punished. Why would this one speak gently? Her chest tightened. She wanted to believe, but fear was stronger. She curled tighter against the wall, shaking her head. The human took a slow step closer. His boots scraped softly against the floor. His eyes adjusted to the darkness, and she saw them glint, calm, not cruel. He lowered himself to one knee so that he wasn't towering over her. His hands reached toward the iron chains. She flinched back, expecting pain. Instead, she heard the click of metal loosening. One shackle slipped free. Her hand fell to her lap, blood rushing back into her fingers. She gasped softly, staring at him with wide, disbelieving eyes. "Why?" she whispered. Her voice was hoarse from silence and foul ear. The human looked at her. His face showed no cruelty, only something she could not name. "Because you don't deserve this," he said. The alien girl shook her head. The words made no sense. She had always been told she was nothing, a burden, a prisoner to be traded or broken. Yet here was a human, the enemy, freeing her from the chains. Her mind battled between terror and hope. Maybe it was a trick. Maybe he wanted her to trust him only to cause more pain later. That was what her people said humans did. But when he pulled out a small flask of water and held it toward her, her throat burned. She wanted to refuse, but the need was too strong. With shaking hands, she reached out. The water touched her lips, cool and real. She drank slowly, staring at him as if he were a ghost. Silence filled the cell again, only broken by the sound of her breathing. The human stayed close, but not too close. He did not grab her or demand anything. Instead, he spoke softly. "I will not hurt you." Her heart pounded. The words sank deep into her, and she wanted to believe them, but the fear still held her tightly. Her eyes darted to the open door. Freedom stood just beyond, but she could not move. Her body was too weak, her spirit too broken. The human stood and stepped back. His shadow stretched long across the floor. He did not leave the door wide. He did not lock it shut again either. His voice carried one final promise before he turned to go. "Tomorrow, I will return, and you will see I speak truth." When the door closed, the darkness swallowed her once more. But inside her chest, where only fear had lived before, a small spark of doubt flickered. Doubt that maybe the stories about humans were wrong, and that single spark was more frightening to her than the chains had ever been. The night passed slowly in the cell. The alien girl did not sleep. Her mind was filled with questions that gave her no rest. Why had the human freed her wrist? Why had he spoken kindly? She sat in the corner, afraid to believe. Her people always said humans only knew cruelty. And yet his words repeated in her head. "You don't have to be afraid." When the heavy footsteps returned, she tensed. Her breath caught in her throat. She told herself this time the mask would fall. He had shown her false kindness yesterday only to prepare her for worse pain. The door opened, and the same human entered. His face calm, his eyes steady. He carried no whip, no weapon, only a small tray of food. The smell of warm bread and fruit filled the air. Her stomach twisted in hunger, but she did not move. He set the tray on the floor and pushed it toward her slowly. He spoke again, his tone soft. "Eat. You need strength." She stared at him with suspicion. The chain still clinked around her ankles, a reminder that she was still trapped. Her trembling fingers reached out, then pulled back. She whispered, "Why do this? What do you want?" Her voice was sharp, though weak. He met her eyes and answered simply, "Nothing, only for you to live." The words struck her. They made no sense. No one wanted her to live. Her captors had called her worthless, too fragile, too weak for labor. So why would this human care? Her chest tightened as she looked at the food again. Slowly, she reached forward and took a piece of bread. She bit into it and tears filled her eyes at the taste. The human did not move closer. He stayed where he was, kneeling at a distance. She ate quickly, fear mixing with relief. When she was finished, he held out a small cloth. Her eyes narrowed. She thought it was another trick. But when she took it, she realized it was for wiping her face. Her heart beat faster. This was not the Wu A of enemies. This was something different, something she could not understand. She whispered again, Why me? For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he leaned forward, his hand lifted slowly. She froze, waiting for the strike, but his fingers touched only the iron cuff still locked around her ankle. With careful pressure, he worked at the mechanism. A sharp click rang out. The second shackle fell away. She gasped, pulling her leg close to her chest, staring at the red marks left on her skin. She expected pain to follow, but none came. The human's eyes softened, his voice steady. No one deserves chains, not even you. The words cut through her heart. She did not know whether to run or to weep. She wanted to hate him, but something inside was breaking. The human reached into his pocket and pulled out a small flask again. He offered it to her with an open hand, not forcing it. She stared at it, then at him. The silence between them felt heavier than the chains had ever been. Finally, with shaking hands, she took it. Their fingers brushed for the first time. A spark shot through her, not of pain, but of warmth. Her breath caught. She had expected roughness, cruelty. Instead, the touch was gentle, almost protective. Her eyes widened as she whispered, You are not like the others. The human looked at her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. No, I am not, he replied. The moment passed, but it left a mark. For the first time in her life, an enemy's touch did not bring fear. It brought confusion, and beneath it, something else she dared not name. When he stood to leave, she found her voice trembling. Will you come back? She asked without meaning to. He paused in the doorway, his silhouette framed in the light. Yes, he said simply. And next time, you will see even more. The door shut, but the darkness felt different. Not as empty, not as cruel, her and still tingled where his fingers had brushed hers. She pressed it against her chest, her heart racing, and though fear still held her, another feeling had begun to grow. A dangerous feeling she had never known before. Hope. The cell felt different after the human left. The alien girl sat with her back against the wall, her hands free now, her ankles no longer bound. Yet freedom felt heavy, not light. Her heart was still racing, and her mind could not understand what had just happened. Her people always said humans took pleasure in pain. They broke bones, they burned skin, they laughed at the suffering of others. That was what she believed. That was what she feared. So why was this human different? Why had he fed her? Why had his touch been gentle? She rubbed her wrists where the shackles had cut deep. The marks were raw, angry, but she kept touching them as if to remind herself it was real. She whispered into the empty darkness. Why? Why does he not hurt me? The silence gave her no answer, only the echo of her own shaking voice. When the door opened again, her heart leapt into her throat. She shrank back, expecting the kindness to end, expecting the mask to fall, but the same human entered. He carried another tray of food and a small folded blanket. His eyes searched the room until they found hers. He spoke calmly. You look better today. She glared at him, confusion burning inside her chest. Why do you do this? She asked, her voice trembling. What do you want from me? The human set the tray down without stepping closer. His answer came steady. Nothing. You deserve more than chains. Her head shook violently. No, I don't. My people said humans hate us. They said you torture, you kill. Her words broke. She hugged herself tightly as if the lies were chains still clinging to her. The human sighed softly. Not all stories are true, he said. His tone was not angry, only sad. He placed the folded blanket on the ground between them and stepped back. Take it if you want. It is yours. Her eyes darted from the blanket. Teeth to his face. Suspicion fought against the small spark of trust building inside her. What if this was only another game? What if he wanted her to lower her guard before the real cruelty began? She whispered. Why would you care? I am nothing to you. For a long time the human said nothing. He only looked at her with quiet eyes. Finally his words came. Because I remember what it is like to be nothing. The alien girl froze, her breath caught in her throat. She had not expected that. His voice carried a weight that felt real, not like a trick. It stirred something strange inside her chest. He stepped back toward the door, his figure half hidden in the shadow. "Eat, rest. Tomorrow we will talk," he said, his voice gentle, almost protective. Then he turned to leave, her lips parted. She wanted to call out, but fear held her tongue. When the door closed behind him, she pulled the blanket closer. Its fabric was soft, warm against her skin. She pressed it to her face, smelling the faint trace of him. It confused her even more. She should hate him, she should fear him. But instead, she sat in silence with her heart beating wildly. The warmth of the blanket wrapped around her body, and the warmth of his words wrapped around her mind. That night she did not cry herself to sleep. She lay awake, staring at the darkness, torn between two truths, what she had been told about humans and what she had seen in his eyes. Fear still lived inside her, but now confusion lived beside it, and that confusion was far more dangerous because it made her wonder what else might be a lie. The darkness of the cell no longer felt the same. The alien girl sat with the blanket wrapped tightly around her. Her thin body shivered less now, but her heart was still restless. The human's words echoed inside her mind. "Because I remember what it is like to be nothing." She wanted to push those words away, to bury them under fear, but they stayed with her, soft yet sharp. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Lies. It must be lies." Yet her own voice betrayed doubt. When the door creaked open again, her eyes flew wide. The human entered quietly. His steps were slow, not harsh. He carried nothing this time. No food, no water, only his presence. He stopped a few paces from her and lowered himself to the floor, his eyes steady but gentle. "I will not hurt you," he said again, his voice almost a whisper. She turned her face away, her arms hugging her knees. "Then why are you here?" she demanded, her voice cracking. "Why come again and again if not to break me?" The human leaned forward slightly, his hands resting on his knees. "Because you are not broken, and I will not be the one to shatter you." Her chest tightened. She shook her head quickly. "You speak lies. All humans lie. My people told me so." His eyes did not harden. He did not argue in anger. Instead, he lowered his voice even more until it was almost like a secret between them. "Then let me be the first truth you hear." The words struck her, not like a weapon, but like warmth. Her body trembled, not in fear, but in confusion. No one had ever spoken to her like this. Not her people, not her captors, and certainly not a human. For a long silence, she said nothing. Her throat closed around the words she wanted to speak. Finally, she whispered so softly it was almost lost. "Why do you care?" His eyes met hers, and in the flicker of the dim light, she saw something she could not name. "Because kindness is ranger than cruelty," he said, "and someone once showed me the same." Her breath caught, her heart beat faster. She searched his face for deception, for mockery, but found none, only calm truth. The silence between them deepened, heavy and strange. She pulled the blanket tighter, her voice trembling. If you are lying, it will hurt worse." "I know," he said softly. "That is why I will not lie." The alien girl turned her gaze away, staring at the cold stone wall, but her ears strained to hold on to every word. Her chest ached in ways she did not understand. Fear told her to stay silent, but another voice, small and dangerous, urged her to listen. After a while, he stood, his shadow stretched long across the cell. "Rest. Tomorrow you will see more," he said. His tone was steady, gentle, as if he were speaking not to a prisoner, but to someone he valued. When the door closed, the silence of the cell returned, but the silence had changed. It no longer felt empty. It was filled with his words, his whisper of kindness. She touched her chest, feeling the wild rhythm of her heart. A war raged inside her, fear against hope, pain against comfort. For the first time, she wondered if her people had been wrong, if perhaps a human could be more than a monster. The thought frightened her more than chains ever did, and yet deep within, she could not let it go. The morning came slowly in the prison halls. The alien girl sat awake, the blanket still wrapped around her thin shoulders. Her stomach turned with both fear and something new she did not want to name. She kept replaying the human's words. "Then let me be the first truth you hear." She wanted to believe, but her mind screamed at her not to. Belief was dangerous. Trust was deadly. She pulled the blanket tighter, whispering to herself, "Do not trust. Do not trust." Yet the warmth on her skin made her feel safe, even when she told herself it was a trap. The sound of footsteps came again. The door groaned open, light spilled into the cell, and the human entered. This time, he carried no tray, no flask, only a small tool in his hand. Her heart raced. She pressed herself against the wall, eyes wide. "What is that?" she asked in a broken whisper. He knelt down without answering at first. His calm gaze met hers. "It is to free you," he said. His words were simple, steady. Her breath caught in her throat. She shook her head quickly. "No, you've freed enough. If I am free more, others will come. They will punish. They will kill you." The human gave a faint smile. "Then let them try," he said. His voice carried no fear, only certainty. He reached for the chains that still held her ankles. The iron was rusted and dug deep into her skin. She tensed, trembling, expecting pain. But the touch was gentle, his hands moving with care. The tool clicked, and the first lock snapped open. Her breath hitched. She stared in disbelief as the metal fell away, leaving only angry red marks. He worked on the other shackle. The seconds stretched like hours. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. Another click. The final chain slipped free. She gasped, pulling her legs close to her chest. Her hands flew to her ankles, feeling the skin that was no longer trapped. Tears stung her eyes. She whispered, "Why? Why do this?" The human sat back, his face calm. "Because you deserve to walk," he said simply. Her lips trembled. The words tore through her heart. No one had ever said such things to her, not even her own people. She shook her head violently. "No, I am nothing. I am weak. You are tricking me." He leaned forward slightly, his eyes steady. "If I wished to trick you, I would not have freed you," he said. "I would not risk my life for this." Her body shook with confusion. The chains were gone, yet her fear still clung to her. She wanted to run, but her legs were too weak. She wanted to scream, but her voice broke. Instead, she covered her face with her hands and wept. The human did not move closer. He did not touch her without asking. He let her cry. His silence was not cold, but patient, like a wall keeping her safe. When her sobs finally slowed, he spoke again, his voice soft. "You are free now, but freedom is heavy. It will scare you, it will test you, but I will not let you fall." Her heart twisted. The words were strange, unfamiliar, yet they felt real. She lowered her hands slowly, her tear-streaked face turned toward him. "Why me?" she whispered again. He looked at her with eyes that carried shadows of his own pain. "Because once, someone did the same for me," he said. Her breath caught. She stared at him, confusion mixing with a dangerous flicker of understanding. He stood then, tall against the dim light of the cell. His voice carried strength as he spoke. "Your chains are gone, but the choice will be yours." As the door shut behind him, the girl curled into the blanket, her heart pounding. The chains no longer weighed on her body, but their ghosts still pressed on her mind, and yet, deep inside, for the first time, she wondered if she could stand, not as a prisoner, but as something more. The girl slept little that night. Her body was free, but her mind was chained to fear. She clutched the blanket against her chest, whispering the human's words again and again. "You are free now. The choice will be yours." Each time she repeated them, her heart shook with both hope and terror. Morning came with the echo of angry voices in the hallway, harsh and sharp, not like the quiet voice of the human. She froze, pressing her back to the wall. Boots thundered closer. The door slammed open and 2 guards stepped inside, their faces twisted with cruelty. Their eyes fell on her ankles, now bare of chains. "What is this?" one growled, his voice filled with rage. He grabbed her arm roughly, jerking her up from the floor. She cried out, stumbling in his grip. "Who freed you? Tell us." Fear flooded her veins. Her lips trembled. She wanted to speak, but her voice broke. The second guard laughed. "It was him, wasn't it, the fool human?" His grin was sharp, cruel. "Always thought he was soft. Now we know he will pay." Her heart stopped. Panic burned in her chest. If they punished him for helping her, it would be her fault. She shook her head quickly. "No, no one. I freed myself." Her words cracked, but they only laughed harder. The first guard sneered. "Do not lie. You could not break those chains. You are too weak." He shoved her against the wall, pain shooting through her shoulder. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered again, "It was me, not him." But they did not believe. They raised their fists, ready to strike. Then another voice filled the doorway, calm but firm. "Enough." The human stepped inside, his eyes sharp, his jaw tight. He looked at the guards with no fear. The girl's heart leapt at the sight of him. The guards turned, their sneers growing. "So it was you," one spat. Helping this creature? What are you thinking? The human walked closer, each step, slow and steady. I am thinking you have no right to treat her like this. His voice was low, dangerous. The guards laughed. She is nothing, less than dirt. And you are a fool to waste your time. The girl trembled, her eyes darting between them. She expected the human to give in, to step back, to protect himself. But he did not. Instead, he moved to stand in front of her, shielding her with his body, his shoulders squared, his voice like steel. If you want her, you will have to go through me. The room went silent. The guards stared, surprised at his defiance. For a moment, even their laughter faded. Then one snarled, then so be it. He lunged forward. The girl gasped. Her hands shot out, grabbing the human's arm. No, they will kill you, she whispered. Her voice filled with terror. But he did not move, his stance unbroken, his eyes never leaving the guards. The tension cracked like thunder. A fight was moments away. The guards' rage filled the air. The girl's heart pounded so loud she thought it would burst. She pressed against the human's back, trembling. The guards stepped closer, but something in the human's eyes stopped them. His calm was not weakness, it was strength, a strength they had not expected. One guard cursed under his breath. This is not over, he spat. They backed away, their eyes full of hate. The door slammed shut behind them. Silence fell, heavy and sharp. The girl's knees gave way. She fell against the human's side, her tears hot and blinding. Why? She whispered. Why risk this for me? He looked down at her, his voice steady. Because you are worth it. Her chest ached. Her mind screamed that it was impossible, yet her heart could not deny the truth in his voice. For the first time, someone had stood between her and pain. For the first time, she was protected. As the echo of the guards' voices faded in the distance, the girl clung to the blanket tighter. Her fear had not vanished, but now it lived beside something far more dangerous: trust. The cell was no longer safe. The human knew it, and the alien girl felt it too. After the guards left, the silence carried a heavy warning. They would return, and next time they would not walk away. She sat trembling, clutching the blanket, while the human paced the floor with sharp, careful steps. Finally, he stopped and looked at her, his voice calm but urgent. We cannot stay here. They will come back, stronger, angrier. Her eyes widened. Fear flashed in her chest. Escape, she whispered. No, I cannot. If they catch us, they will kill us both. The human crouched in front of her, his gaze steady. If we stay, you will die anyway. Freedom is dangerous, but chains are worse. His words struck her like fire. She wanted to believe, but her body shook with doubt. Still, when he extended his hand, she found herself staring at it, torn between fear and a strange pull inside her heart. Her voice cracked. If I fall, will you leave me? His hand did not waver. Never, he said simply. She swallowed hard. Slowly, she placed her trembling fingers in his. The warmth of his grip wrapped around her like a promise. They moved quickly, slipping out of the cell. The corridor was dim and lined with cold metal walls. Alarms had not yet sounded, but the danger felt close. The girl stumbled with each step, her legs weak from long days of chains. The human steadied her, never letting go of her hand. The echo of voices rose from down the hall. Shadows stretched across the floor. The human pulled her into a side passage, pressing her against the wall. His body shielded hers as two guards marched past. She held her breath, her heart hammering against her ribs. His hand pressed lightly against her shoulder, calming her even in terror. When the footsteps faded, he whispered, "This way." They moved again. The air grew colder as they neared the exit tunnels. A faint light shone ahead. Her chest tightened at the sight. It was the first glimpse of the outside in so long. But before they reached it, a sharp alarm blared through the corridors. Red lights flashed. The girl gasped in fear. They know, she cried. The human's grip tightened. Run, he ordered, his voice steady but urgent. Her bare feet slapped against the floor as they sprinted together. Behind them, shouts rang out. The sound of weapons being drawn filled the air. The human moved fast, guiding her around corners, pushing open heavy doors. Each step forward was a fight against the fear that clawed at her chest. They reached a wide chamber near the outer gate, but guards were already pouring in from the far side. Their weapons glowed with deadly light. The girl froze, terror locking her body. She whispered, "We cannot win. They will take us back." The human stepped in front of her again, his arms spread, his stance unshaken. "Then they will have to go through me," he said. His voice rang louder than the alarms. The guards sneered, raising their weapons. In that moment, the girl felt something she had never known before: courage. It sparked inside her chest, small but fierce. She grabbed the human's arm, her voice trembling but strong. "I will not go back. Not again." The human looked at her, his eyes sharp with pride. "Good," he said. Then he pulled her hand tight in his and dashed toward a side vent. A narrow escape route, barely wide enough. They ducked inside, the shouts of guards echoing behind them. The metal tunnel was dark and tight, but it led forward, each step carrying them farther from the prison. The girl stumbled, but the human lifted her, carrying her when her legs gave out. She clung to him, her tears hot against his shoulder. Behind them, the echoes of pursuit faded slowly. Ahead, the faint glow of moonlight appeared at the tunnel's end. Her chest ached. Hey. Air body weak. But for the first time, she felt the air of freedom touch her skin. The dangerous escape had only just begun, but in her heart, chains no longer held her. Only his hand did, and that felt like hope. The night air struck her face as they stumbled out of the tunnel. For the first time in what felt like forever, the alien girl breathed air that was not heavy with rust and stone. It was cold, sharp, and filled with the scent of trees. She gasped, clutching her chest. Her weak body shivered, but the sky above, wide and endless, felt like a dream. The human did not stop. He led her into the forest that surrounded the prison grounds. The shadows of tall trees swallowed them as they pushed deeper inside. Their breaths were rough, their steps unsteady, but each step was freedom. After a while, when they were far from the lights of the prison, the human slowed. He guided her to a small clearing hidden between rocks. "We rest here," he said quietly. She collapsed to the ground, her legs too weak to hold her. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Her hands clutched the blanket she still carried. The human knelt, gathering branches and dry leaves. His movements were quick but careful. Soon a small fire crackled to life. The glow painted his face in orange light. The warmth spread into the night, chasing away some of the chill. The girl sat near it, staring into the flames. The fire's warmth felt strange, comforting, like the words he had spoken before. Her eyes drifted to him. He sat across the fire, watching her carefully. His gaze was steady, not sharp, not cruel. She whispered, "Why risk this? They will hunt you now. They will never stop." His voice came soft but strong, because chains should never bind anyone. Not you, not me. His words sank into her heart like the heat of the fire. She pulled the blanket closer and whispered, "But I am nothing. My people said I was weak, a burden, not worth saving." Her eyes lowered, shame filling her chest. The human leaned forward, his eyes catching the firelight. "They lied," he said firmly. "You are not nothing. You survived chains. You endured pain. That is strength, more strength than most ever show." Her breath caught. Tears burned at the corners of her eyes. She turned her face away, not wanting him to see. His words pressed against every wound inside her, words she had never been given. The fire crackled between them. The night was silent except for the distant call of unseen creatures. The girl shifted closer to the flames, her small hands held out to the warmth. She whispered again, "You are different. I don't understand why humans should hate me." The human shook his head, his voice softer now, almost like the whisper she remembered in the cell. "Not all humans are the same, just as not all of your people are cruel. I choose who I am, and I choose kindness." Her heart raced. She dared to look at him fully. His face lit by fire looked strong, steady, and honest. There was no mask, no hidden cruelty. For the first time she believed him, even if only a little. The silence grew deep. She pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Her voice trembled as she asked, "If I fall asleep, will you leave?" His answer came without hesitation. "No, I will keep watch. You are safe." The words made her chest ache in a way she could not explain. Slowly her body leaned against the warmth of the fire, her eyes heavy, her head turned slightly, and before she realized it, she rested against his arm. The human did not move away. He stayed still, letting her lean on him. The fire flickered, shadows danced around them. The night felt less cruel, and as she drifted into sleep, the alien girl realized something terrifying. She trusted him, even if only for this moment, and that trust burned brighter than the fire between them. The forest was quiet in the early morning. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the tall trees, painting golden lines across the ground. The alien girl stirred awake, her head resting against the human's arm. For a moment she forgot where she was. Her body felt warm, safe, and then the memories rushed back. The escape, the fire, the guards, the chains that were now broken. She sat up quickly, clutching the blanket. Her eyes darted around the forest, but there were no guards, no alarms, only the soft crackle of the dying fire. The human watched her calmly, his eyes steady as always. "You slept," he said quietly. She frowned. "Why did you not sleep?" He shook his head. "I promised I would keep watch, and I do not break promises." Her chest tightened. She wanted to speak, but no words came. She hugged the blanket to herself. The silence stretched until he finally asked, "When we move again, you must choose. Will you go back to your people, or will you stay with me?" Her eyes widened. The question struck her like a blade. She stared at him, her lips trembling. "My people. They hate me. They called me weak. They left me to chains." Her voice broke. "But you are human. You are the enemy. If I stay, I betray them." The human did not look away, his voice calm. "And what do you betray if you go back?" Her heart pounded. She had no answer. She lowered her head, tears threatening to fall. The choice tore at her. Between a people who rejected her and a human who had shown her care, he leaned forward slightly, his words soft but strong. "Listen to your heart, not to the lies others gave you. What does your heart say?" Her hands tightened on the blanket. She whispered, "My heart, it says to stay, but I am afraid of what it means, afraid it is wrong." The human reached out slowly, not to grab her, but to place his hand on the ground between them, open. "Wah. Aiting. Fear is not weakness," he said. "It means the choice matters, and I will not force you. The choice is yours alone." Her eyes filled with tears, her body shook. She looked at his hand, steady and patient, not demanding. Slowly she lifted her trembling fingers and placed them in his. Warmth spread through her chest, stronger than fear. She whispered, "Then I choose you." The words broke in the air, fragile but true. Her tears spilled freely now, rolling down her cheeks. He squeezed her hand gently. "Then you are not alone anymore." Her heart ached, but it was no longer the ache of chains. It was the ache of freedom, of a decision made not from fear, but from hope. She leaned forward, her forehead resting lightly against his shoulder, her voice small. "Please do not leave me." His answer came steady, like stone. "I will not." The forest around them seemed to listen. The wind moved softly through the leaves. The fire's last smoke curled into the air. The girl held on to him, her tears falling. But for the first time, they were not tears of despair. They were tears of release, of a heart finally choosing for itself. The choice of the heart had been made, and there was no turning back. The forest grew brighter as the sun climbed higher. The alien girl walked slowly beside the human, her bare feet brushing against the damp grass. Each step felt strange, new, like she was learning how to live again. She held the blanket close, but her hand never let go of his. For so long, her life had been only survival. Every day in chains was a battle to breathe, a battle to endure. But now, walking in the open air, she realized survival was not enough. There was something beyond it, something she had never known. Choice. The human glanced at her. His pace slowed to match her weak steps. He did not pull, did not push. He only walked with her, his voice calm. "You are stronger than you think." She shook her head. "I am broken." He stopped, turning to face her, his eyes sharp with truth. "No, you are not broken, you are alive. And that means you are more than what they tried to make you." Her chest tightened, his words struck deep. For years she believed she was nothing. But here was a human, the one she was taught to fear, telling her she was more. Tears burned her eyes. She turned her face away, whispering, "Why do you keep saying these things?" His answer came steady, "Because they are true, and because someone must remind you until you believe it yourself." The forest path opened into a small stream. The water shimmered in the sunlight. She knelt at its edge, dipping her hands into the cool flow. For a moment she saw her reflection, thin, scarred, eyes wide with fear. But behind her, she saw him, standing steady, watching her not with judgment, but with quiet respect. Her throat ached. She whispered, "You look at me like I am worth something, but I am not." The human crouched beside her. His reflection joined hers in the water. "You are," he said, "not because of what you can give, not because of what others say. You are worth something because you are you." Her breath caught. She stared at the water, then at him. For the first time, she did not see chains in her reflection. She saw possibility, fragile but real. They moved again, traveling deeper into the woods. Birds sang in the trees above, their voices sharp and free. The girl listened, her heart aching at the sound. "They are free," she whispered. "Like us." The human nodded. "Yes, but freedom is not only escape. It is what you do after. It is what you choose to become." His words filled her with both hope and fear. She thought of her people who had cast her aside. She thought of the guards who called her worthless. She thought of herself, small and trembling in the dark cell. Now here she was, walking beneath open skies with a human at her side. Her voice broke softly. "I do not want to just live. I want to feel alive." He looked at her, his eyes steady. "Then you will, because you have chosen. You chose to walk. You chose to trust. And that means you are already alive." Her chest swelled. She felt a warmth spreading through her, stronger than fear. For the first time, she did not feel like a shadow. She felt seen. As the day stretched on, they rested beneath a great tree. The human leaned against the trunk, eyes scanning the forest for danger. She sat beside him, her head lowering to his shoulder, her voice soft but clear. "I never thought I would feel this, to be more than survival." He turned his head slightly, his words gentle. "Then hold on to it. Do not let anyone take it away." The forest whispered around them. The stream sang in the distance, and in that quiet moment, the alien girl realized her life was no longer just about surviving chains. It was about living. For the first time, truly living. Night returned to the forest. The air was cool, and the fire the human built glowed gently between them. The alien girl sat close, the blanket around her shoulders. Her eyes watched the flames dance. Her heart was heavy with thoughts yet lighter than ever before. She whispered, almost afraid of her own voice. "I do not understand why I feel this way." Her hands clutched the blanket. "I should hate you. I should fear you. But when I look at you, I feel safe." The human sat across the fire, his eyes steady, his voice calm. Because safety is not given by walls or chains, it is given by trust, and trust is what you are learning. Her breath caught. She lowered her gaze. "But I am weak. I shake. I cry. I cannot protect even myself." Her words were filled with shame. He leaned forward, his voice firm but gentle. "You are not weak. You survived chains. You faced fear, and you chose to walk beside me. That is not weakness. That is strength." Tears welled in her eyes. She whispered, "No one ever said that to me before." His hand reached across the fire, not forcing, only waiting. She hesitated, her heart pounding. Slowly, she placed her trembling hand in his. The warmth spread through her chest, stronger than the fire, stronger than fear. He pulled her gently to sit beside him. His arm wrapped lightly around her shoulders. For a moment she stiffened, expecting pain, but none came. Instead, his embrace was steady, protective. Her tears fell freely, not from terror, but from release. "You are free now," he whispered close to her ear. "Not just from chains, but from lies. You belong to yourself. No one can take that away." Her heart raced. She pressed her face into his shoulder, his warmth, his strength. It was unlike anything she had ever known. She whispered, "And you? Will you leave me?" His answer came without pause. "No, I will walk with you, as long as you choose." And the words shook her. They were not commands, not demands, only a promise. For the first time she realized freedom was not about being alone. It was about choosing who to walk beside. The firelight painted the night in gold and shadow. She lifted her head slowly. Her eyes met his. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Then I choose this. I choose you." The human's hand brushed gently across her face, wiping her tears. His touch was soft, not cruel, not heavy. It carried care, something she had never felt before. Her chest ached, but it was not pain. It was something deeper. She leaned closer, her forehead resting against his. Their breaths mingled in the quiet night. In that moment, the chains of fear broke completely. She felt only the pleasure of freedom, of being seen, of being valued. The world around them was still dangerous. The guards would hunt. Her people would scorn her choice. But none of that mattered now. What mattered was this moment, the fire, the forest, and the bond between them, she whispered with trembling lips. "I thought humans only brought pain. But you showed me something else. You showed me." His voice came steady, full of quiet strength. "And you showed me what it means to fight for someone worth saving." The alien girl closed her eyes. Her body relaxed against him. For the first time, sleep came not from exhaustion or fear, but from peace. Her dreams were not filled with chains, but with open skies. The fire burned low, the forest whispered softly, and under the blanket of stars, the human and the alien girl sat together, not as captor and captive, not as enemies, but as two souls who had found freedom in each other. The chains were gone, the fear was gone, and what remained was stronger than either of them had ever known. Trust, hope, and the beginning of something far greater than survival.